Hey, I'm Steph.
And I'm Meg.
And you're listening to the Slowly Stitched podcast.
You're tuned in to episode 1, Is Fashion That Deep? In today's episode, we'll be covering some of the big key fashion terms and what they mean, and also exploring a little bit deeper about what that relationship between fashion is and how we feel. You're also in for luck because it's our first episode, so you'll learn a little bit more around what Slowly Stitched is, why we started it, and why conversations about conscious fashion are so important today. I'm so excited for today's episode.
Me too.
So,
buzzing.
Steph, what's your fashion feeling today?
So, I feel like because it's our first episode, first of all, I'm feeling very proud of us because we've done a lot of planning behind the scenes. I think that I didn't realise how much goes into podcasts before we did it. So I feel like I'm on top of the world. I really want to show my personality, seeing it's the first episode. I'm quite bold, I'm quite confident. So that's why I went with this bold pink top because you guys will learn, I absolutely love pink. But I've paired that with these brown faux leather pants. And Stephanie Jade's on the shoes. Of course, got to rep myself.
Gorgeous.
But yeah, I feel like it really incorporates how I'm feeling today.
Yeah.
What about you,
It just gives like power. Like,
yeah.
I just love it. And I also think the blends of the colour are beautiful. Like,
Thank you.
So beautiful.
Yeah, I feel really good today.
Great.
What about you? I see you with your grey fit.
Listen,
I love it.
Me and a monochrome go together real good. Like, I just love monochrome. I feel like when you're in doubt and you don't know what to wear, throw on the same colour and everyone thinks that you've made an effort and you haven't. I think today I'm feeling really excited. I feel just really grateful and blessed to be doing this with you. And I think I'm also just accepting, like being able to like really just let yourself be yourself.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to wear something that made me feel comfy, that made me feel put together, and actually showed a little bit of what Meg is, which is a little bit of structure, a little bit trendy, a little bit cool, and something that just feels really organic, and I really love that. So I've gone for these really cute cargos. They're grey and they're like joggers but tailored trousers as well. I've gone for a white little cord kind of set, and then I'm wearing this like grey like wool sheer bomber jacket. So it's different textures, different types of grey, but goes together really good. And then I'm just blinged up and I really love it.
I love the bling, man.
Yeah, one thing about
so
me and rings. Yeah, we go together real good. Yeah. So if you want to send me some rings or recommendations, I only wear silver, guys, but I love it so much.
See, and that's like what I love about fashion and kind of why we started this podcast. It really is a feeling and it's a way to express your mood on a particular day. Like how I see fashion, it's like a sliding scale. Like today I might feel 10%. I'm feeling really terrible, but I put on that bomb ass fit.
Yeah.
I feel 100%.
Yeah.
Or the opposite, maybe I'm like feeling overwhelmed today, but I want to tone it down in the way that I dress. Balance.
Yeah.
That's what I love about it. And I think that's why we really wanted to create a space where we could talk about, you know, not only how fashion makes us feel, but actually how to build an intentional wardrobe so that it matches all of your possible feelings that you'll ever feel. So for me, I've always loved fashion. As a kid, I knew from the age of 8 I wanted my own brand, which I've started now, guys. You should definitely go follow Stephanie Jade London page.
I love it.
I just got to plug myself there.
If you don't shout yourself, who will?
Every episode.
No,
sorry, you guys are gonna get sick of me.
Rep it.
But you've got to rep. And I think what I've always loved about fashion is that it's so much more than the clothes that we wear.
Yeah.
And actually it's an extension of ourselves. It's a way to self-reflect. It's a way to self-express. And it's important to every single person, right? Every single thing you put on every day is a conscious decision. It may not feel that way because you might just quickly grab something from your wardrobe, but you thought about it. And it should be important to you the same way it's important to us. And I think, again, just learning about the industry. I've got a master's in fashion business and also learning about the downside and the negative side really has put things into perspective for me. And it kind of made me realise there's a huge educational gap. Like, no fault of anyone, by the way. Unless you learn about it or you work in the industry, you are not going to know. But I think it's important that we do know, like, what goes on. Yeah. And actually, it's not just about, oh, I want this, I want this, I want this. Like, how can we be more intentional with what we buy so then that our wardrobes really reflect us as people? So
I love that. And I think when you had told me about Slowly Stitched, I just connected with it so much. So like the tea is, guys, Steph had posted a video on TikTok Literally, she looked bomb. She was wearing this like gorgeous, detailed blouse, blazer. It was black, and she just looked like that babe. And I was just like, yeah, came up on my FYP. To be fair, I think I stayed because of the blouse. Can't lie. I saw it, I said, yeah, I want this.
Yeah, I love a statement piece.
Steph had done a call out looking for a co-host, and I was like, oh, this is perfect. This is brilliant for me. I speak anyway, but one of the things that I've not necessarily been able to tap into enough is that creative side. But clothes has been such a big part of my DNA and my stitch of who I am, right? And I think for me, clothing has been such a big part of my own well-being and my mental health journey. Like, clothing has given me that confidence where I might feel really socially awkward when I go into a room. It has given me the shield that I might need where I'm not feeling body conscious. Like, most women and most people do struggle with body dysmorphia and things like that. And I also think it has definitely allowed me to be stronger in spaces and elevate. Being such a young leader and my career starting so young, clothing has been an intentional tool that I've used as a superpower to be able to open doors for me. Like, it really is. And it's something that I think even in my culture and my family, clothing is a big thing. Like, I just think everyone in my family loves clothes and we all hoard, but in the best possible way, because everyone is really intentional. And I think sometimes when we think about clothing, we almost segregate different people and we think that, oh, it's only for people that care about fashion. That's the only people that care about clothes. No, when we think about people's basic needs, the hierarchy of needs, shelter and clothes come under the same thing, right? Everyone has to wear something, and it's been part of our evolutionary process as human beings for centuries. Clothing, wearing things, attire, part of people's DNA and how their culture and how they identify themselves, right? And I think when you recognize that it's something that everyone goes through, why are we not talking about it?
Exactly.
Right? Why are we not talking about it? And why are we not talking about it in the impact that it has on people and the rest of the world?
Right.
And I think that's why, like, this podcast is so different, because we are literally peeling back those stitches and talking about maybe the conversations that don't tend to happen. And I think that's what I was really excited for.
Yeah.
I buy clothes. We can tell. I'm terrible. As a consumer, Steph knows. I remember even in our planning sessions, we were having this conversation. I am really conscious and I want to move towards being more conscious. I have clothes, I want to do better, and I want to have pieces that are more me and things that I feel comfortable passing down, but I never knew where to start. And I think for a lot of people who are in that space, who care about the world, who want to make the world a better place, but also want to be more intentional, feel really more confident with their wardrobes and the choices that they make, there isn't a first-hand book, like, you know, that yellow pages where our families used to be able to like flick through.
Right.
There's not that for conscious fashion or sustainability. And I think a lot of people want that. And what you said about there being an education gap, this is why we need conversations like this. So yeah, Slowly Stitch, we hope, can be that space where we can kind of uncover those initial stages, allow people to explore their curiosity, but also get things wrong. Like, I get things wrong every day.
Yeah.
Like, as much as I'm conscious, I do still get things wrong.
100%. And we have to see fashion. People always say this saying, like, various variations, but you have to see, like, personal style as a journey and not a destination. I think that we change and evolve so much as people that our style should also change and evolve. I think there's such a big discourse online at the moment around personal style, and there's so much pressure on it to get it right, right? You're surrounded by trend noise all the time. So it's really difficult to actually understand, what do I actually like? What reflects me as a person? How do I express myself through my clothing whilst ignoring all of the noise around us? And hopefully when people listen to this or watch this, it will help them and give them the tools to get to that place. Because to your point around, like, you know, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, like, self-actualization, I think, is at the very top, right? And a way to get there is through your clothes. Like, if you are intentional, that's the perfect way to help your present self meet your future self. I think clothes is the easiest way to do that. Like, yes, you know, you might be climbing your career, or you might want to go traveling. There's so many different things that we want to do in life, but clothing is one of the easiest ways to match up
those identity changes that you're going through.
Right. It's a way to match up those two things and marry them together. So then, even if you're not where you want to be in life right now, if you dress that way, you're going to feel like Do you know what?
I'm that girl.
I'm that girl. I'm not there yet. I'm not there
But
yet.
I'm getting there.
But I'm getting there. And I think that's what we love about fashion, right? It's so much more than the clothes that we wear. And I'll never forget one of my uni lecturers, he said on the first day of uni, he said, I just want all of you to not think about fashion as clothes. Fashion is about culture. That's literally what it's about. So we'll delve into it in like future episodes of how fashion has a relationship with every single thing in life. But I think if people are able to kind of change their mindset on how they view fashion, like to your earlier point, it's not just for the people that care about fashion or in fashion. Fashion is something that's for everyone. And once you strengthen your relationship with fashion and your clothes and look in your wardrobe and you're like, I actually like every single piece in here. Like that's where I'm getting to, right? It's actually doing that wardrobe audit and thinking, okay, I like this. I don't really like that. This reflects me. This not so much. Once you can be more intentional and like look at your clothes almost as art, like the same way if you went to a gallery and you was an art curator and you're going around looking for designers, like, or artists I should say, what do we want for this space? What's the story we're trying to convey? If you look at your clothes like that, people will get you before you've even opened your mouth. They'll be like, do you know what? I can tell Meg looks like a pretty chill person, you know, but she's a bit edgy because she's heavily accessorized. Like, or me, like I wear bold colors. Maybe she's a bit more of a confident person. Like
She's
maybe
bold.
She's bold.
Really outspoken.
Exactly.
She wants to be seen.
Exactly. So I feel like I could talk to her and I'll be well received. It's that communication piece. And that is what I love about fashion, essentially. So that's why we're here, everyone. That's why we're here.
So,
Segue.
Today's episode is fashion that deep. We really need to sort of break down some of those really big concepts. So even what we've said, us being a conscious fashion podcast and like thinking about things more intentionally, we've mentioned a couple of buzzwords in terms of personal style. We've mentioned things around sustainability. We've spoken about identity and needs.
Yeah.
So let's get into the myths. Yeah. So the first one I have is sustainable fashion is expensive. Do you think this is a myth or do you think it is a truth?
It could be a bit of both.
Land.
Let me land. So again, we are planning to speak about this in a future episode. Can't remember which one it's going to be. But sustainability arguably is expensive, right? Because if you do want to shop from like smaller brands or brands that are a bit more conscious about, you know, whether the materials, whether it's logistics, like whatever part of that supply chain it is, those products tend to be higher priced, right? Like a jacket that's 100% wool is not going to be the same price as a jacket that's 100% polyester.
Yeah.
So in that respect, it is. However, we're going to get into this a bit later, but it's like, what do we even mean by sustainable, right? Yeah. Sustainable can also be a mindset. It doesn't actually have to be, it's got to be the materials, it's got to be how the workers are treated, this is that, like...
It's made on demand.
It's made on demand. Like, actually, sustainability can be you building a sustainable wardrobe. So even if you do have pieces in there that are made from synthetic fibres, is it sustainable to you in terms of like the cost per wear? Are you going to wear it a lot? Because then I think it's okay.
I love that.
So kind of in the
fantastic middle. Really, really good one. You've kind of covered really what some of those like big conversations are being, but really, it is a myth. Many brands offer affordable, eco-friendly options as well. Yeah. And actually, just because it might seem more expensive might not actually mean that it's sustainable. So you were absolutely right. 100%. And I also love what you said about it being a mindset. So that's brilliant. Yeah. Next one is luxury brands are more sustainable.
This is a myth.
Good.
Point blank.
Good.
Period.
Don't even need to cover it.
Don't even need to cover it, okay? But guys, I want you all to remember, I'm going to look straight into the camera, okay? Just because something is more expensive does not mean it's sustainable. And the power of brand is literally why these luxury brands are able to dominate the market. And they've successfully branded their fashion houses in a way where you're like, I need that. I need this. I need that. That looks great, but doesn't mean it's sustainable.
No, absolutely not. And luxury brands are not necessarily more sustainable than other brands. So 100%. Absolutely. Last team. Yeah. Sustainable fashion means minimalism or a capsule wardrobe. Myth or truth?
Myth. this capsule wardrobe-ish that I've been hearing for the past, I'd say, year.
I think it's longer, babe. I think it's been
Maybe it's
since
longer.
COVID, because obviously
Yes,
that's when everyone
yes, it has
had
been
more
since
time
COVID, yeah.
to look at the things that they have at home.
Yeah.
So past 4 or 5 years,
Yeah.
this has been a recurring conversation.
I'm tired, okay? Or do you know what? Again, I'm a believer that everything is pretty much around your mindset, right? I think when people think of capsule wardrobe, they think of like the cool beige mums. It's giving like
Boring.
blazer in black, brown, nude
Grey,
and white
Navy.
and grey
We've
and
even
navy.
got the navy.
You know? No, okay, that's not what capsule wardrobe means to me or to us.
Yeah.
Actually, your capsule wardrobe is what you like. You could be someone that loves pattern or you love colour. So your capsule wardrobe is not going to look like beige. It's going to look like fun. So, yeah, I just think, no. Not everyone is a minimalist and not everyone should be, okay? If that's not how you feel on the inside, don't do it.
Sustainable fashion does not mean minimalism, and it really doesn't mean capsule wardrobe.
No.
Yes, it might make things easier, because
Yep.
if you've got a capsule wardrobe, you've got less pieces, it's easier to choose from, and you narrow things down.
Yeah.
But that doesn't also mean it's sustainable. You could have got your capsule wardrobe from fast fashion brands. That
Right.
doesn't mean that it's sustainable. And I think what you need to remember is your fashion and your capsule wardrobe is to do with you, your personal identity, your personal style, and kind of zoning in
Yeah.
and focusing on that. So yeah, absolutely not. We're just gonna push that myth to the side. And finally, which I think is a fear for so many people, is you need to be 100% sustainable, otherwise it doesn't make a difference.
Yeah, again, I think that is a myth as well. I arguably don't think that anyone or any business can be 100% sustainable.
No.
I think let's just get rid of that myth here. It's impossible. It's just not going to work, right? Because, again, if you think about the logistics of how your clothes get delivered here, as a consumer, I have got absolutely no control over that. So that process in itself is probably not 100% sustainable. So it means that the clothes that you bought are not from an 100% sustainable supply chain.
Yeah.
So I think that it's the little things. If every single person made a bit more of a conscious choice in their wardrobe, actually, I don't need to indulge in that trend because it's nice, it's great, but it's not me. If everyone did that, simple laws of supply and demand, right? Demand go down, supply go down. So on the global stage,
I'm so proud of you for that.
so I was like thinking, I was like, wait, hold on.
I was like, nah,
is it
babe.
supply or demand? I can't actually remember. This
You
is
did
like uni
so
days. I'm
good.
like, can't even
Nah,
remember.
locked in, absolutely locked in. No, you did that.
Yeah.
You did.
We have so much power as consumers, okay? Don't let social media or the government or anyone tell you that we don't have power. We have so much power to send signals. So we reduce that demand, the supply goes down, right? So in the grand scheme of things, we're changing the supply chain, right? The workers are making less. We're using like less fossil fuels to get the clothes delivered to wherever it needs to go. We're using less materials, less water for material production, which again, we'll get into later on. Yeah. It's a done deal. You don't have to be 100% sustainable. I think we hear the word sustainable and people get scared, right? Because they think, I'm not sustainable at all. Like, I just can't do that. Like, we're so separate. No. You can build a relationship with it. But again, sustainability and building an intentional wardrobe actually go more in hand than people realise. With conscious fashion, that world is absolutely massive. And we've only covered a few myths, right? There are hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of myths that we could go through, but we're not going to go through that today. We just wanted to kind of focus on key terms that you all will hear throughout the podcast, just so we're all on the same page about, you know, traditional definitions, but also what the slowly stitched way is for that. So let's break it down. We're going to start off with slow fashion. So Oxford Dictionary describes this as an awareness and approach to fashion that carefully considers the processes and resources required to make clothing, which is essentially the opposite to fast fashion. I feel like we don't really have our own definition for that. Like,
no, and I think it explains it as
yeah.
itself. It's just slower supply chain, slower processes, slower time.
Yeah.
it's basically self-explanatory. And the next one I'm going to go into is fast fashion, which is, again, the opposite to slow fashion. The dictionary basically tells us it's the inexpensive clothing produced rapidly by mass market retailers in response to the latest trends. So the easiest way to recognize fast fashion is can it come to your door tomorrow, number one? How quickly can something go from the runway into that shop? And how much clothing does that store have online or in person? That's a quick way to understand fast fashion. Right, conscious. This podcast is actually a conscious fashion podcast. And why would we not actually break this down? I love this one. I love this word as well, because as you mentioned, fashion is a feeling and it's a decision and choice and mindset. So I think the idea of conscious is really important. Two definitions that I found and I really loved is, in general, like, conscious means having knowledge of something, right? It's that education, it's that understanding, it's that awareness. But then if we break it even further and we look at the kind of contextual background of what conscious means, conscious in the Latin word had the origin of knowing or aware, which I love, because I think when we said about conscious, it's like, are you aware of your decisions? Are you aware of the pieces that you pick? Are you aware of how your choices and actions impact others and the world, basically? And that knowing is like, now that you know that information, I remember we were talking about it. Now you know that information, what are you going to do?
Right.
And how can you use that, which I love. So the SS way, the slowly stitch way, which we literally sat down and were like, okay, what do we understand conscious as? It's the idea of consistently seeking knowledge to make better, more informed decisions. It doesn't mean that you're going to be, like we said, 100% perfect at the beginning. You can't. I don't think you ever can be. And as you mentioned in the myths, you can't be 100% sustainable. Right? But it's that decision and that choice that you want to do better. So you make better decisions, and that's it. That's what we mean about conscious fashion. That's what we mean about conscious choices, and that's what we mean about being more conscious buyer.
Amazing. And just, again, see conscious as, we're conscious in so many aspects of our lives. Whether it's the food that we eat, whether it's you deciding to go to the gym, whether it's you going into the office. Like, I know it sounds like really stupid things, but they're all very conscious decisions, right? So again, it's about us adapting that mindset to fashion as well. So the same way that I choose to eat healthy.
I knew you were going to use that, because that was the thing that was going through my head. I was like, yeah.
That's probably the most relevant to everyone. Or even if you don't eat healthy, that's also a conscious decision, right? If you're on delivery or just eat every day, first of all, you got money to spend. But, oh, sorry, I low-key didn't realise I was throwing shade at Meg.
I'm doing better, guys. I'm doing way better. See, right? Conscious.
But it's a conscious decision, right? Like, you could consciously take your ass to the fridge and make something, but you consciously chose to go on that app, go to your last order history. You're like, you know what?
Why are you reading me?
I want it again. Don't even need to think, because I know what I want.
Me? That feature is the best thing ever, where it says, oh, order again. Yes, sir. Yes, please.
Yes, sir. So the same way you're consciously choosing what to eat is the same mindset you need to adopt to clothing, essentially. So next word is style. Okay, so I liked this definition. It's a particular procedure by which something is done, a manner or a way. And the slowly stitch way, because again, me and Meg were just bouncing off each other, figuring out how do we define the word style. And something that I like to view fashion as is science, right? So in science, you repeat experiments to create results. If something doesn't work, we try it again. We tweak something. If it doesn't work, we try it again. Different like, you have to, like, I see fashion as a science, so use it to experiment. Like, try different things. See it as training a muscle. So the stronger you train your muscles, or the more you train your muscles, I should say, the stronger you become. The same way with style. The more you experiment, the stronger your style will become, because you will figure out what you like and what you don't like.
I absolutely agree with you. I think it's so good to think about kind of your personal style as that science and that repetition and experimenting and kind of just going with that flow, like being way more open, which is fantastic. Sustainability. We knew we had to break this one down, because what's the difference between conscious and sustainable? Right? Are they the same thing? Are they interlinked? Like, are they mutually exclusive? What are they? What do these terms mean? I think this one is really important, because I think we talk about sustainability in all aspects of life. Like you said, there's sustainability in food, there's sustainability in cars, there's sustainability in energy, and all of those things. It also exists within fashion, so we need to define it. And the definition is a way to reduce the negative environment and social impact of the fashion industry. I did think it was a little bit too complex. It doesn't really give anything.
Yeah, it doesn't.
So when Steph and I were breaking this down, we said, what is the easiest way? Like, if I was to go into a shop, how can I say that I'm being sustainable? What is it that I need to look for? And we defined it as 3 main things. You're going to look at the what, time, and how. So what are you purchasing, right? What is this piece of clothing? What is this piece? Time, how long did it take for this piece? Or how long are you going to keep that piece?
Yeah.
What's the longevity of that piece of clothing? And how, which is the cycle, the manufacturing cycle. How was it produced? What are the materials that are involved in it? And where did it come from, really? And I just love that, because if you go into a shop knowing those 3 things, whenever you pick up a piece of clothing, you might not do it all the time, but you can also look at your wardrobe now when you're doing that kind of spring refresh, and you can think about those 3 things.
Right.
What are my clothes? What are they? You know, where do they come from? How long do they take to be produced? How long have I had them for?
Right.
How long will they last for next?
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
also, how are they made? And it's such a great one to be able to like slowly start getting more involved and more conscious.
Love that. Next word.
We're nearly there.
We're nearly there. We've got 2 more. Ethics, to your point, I think sustainability and ethics are often grouped together. Again, what is the difference? So for me, the easiest way to think of what ethics is, anything around people, anything that governs your behavior, right? What are your ethics as a person? What are your morals? What's your moral compass? That all kind of feeds into ethics. What do you value? What are your principles?
Yeah.
So when we talk about ethics, that's kind of the vibe we're going for, essentially.
I love it. Nothing to add to that. I believe it's exactly the same.
Yeah.
Sustainability is processes, ethics is people. I love it.
Exactly.
Last one. As you guys know, at the beginning of the podcast, we did a little segment called Fashion Feeling. This is something that will be ingrained in the Slowly Stitched way, and we thought we might as well define it, right? So for us, the fashion feeling is that idea that fashion and clothing have a really huge impact on the way that you feel and the way that you might want to feel. And actually, we can't come on and ignore that, or try and avoid having those conversations, because when we film, actually, you might not be in a great place. I might not be in a great place. And clothing can be that tool that can help people's well-being.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's essentially it. And it's just our wardrobe and our clothes can sometimes communicate what our mouths can't if we're not feeling in that moment 100% confident or ourselves. So, yeah, your fashion feeling is essentially just that.
Yeah.
What do you want to say without opening your mouth?
Checking in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just our way of knowing and reminding everyone, talking about feelings is difficult.
Yeah.
Right? Talking about feelings is difficult, but talking about clothes, quite easy.
Quite easy.
And then it's like, actually, let's dig a little bit deeper. What your clothing's saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just love it. You'll be glad to know we've come to the end.
We've come to the end of the definition.
Yeah, we've come to the end
Class
of school.
dismissed.
That was fantastic. And I love that. And yeah, just a great place for us to kind of leave today's episode, in terms of, you'll be hearing us talk about these key concepts a lot. They will be in all the conversations that we have.
Yeah.
And it's good that we're all on the same page. So we hope that us breaking down some of these key concepts really helped.
For
so
sure.
What's next, Steph?
What
can
is
people
next?
expect?
I think it's going to be very exciting. I might be a bit biased because we've written everything and like researched everything, but hopefully you people make this their new home for all things conscious fashion, all things how do I build a wardrobe that reflects me. So we'll be can't even speak. We'll be delving. I can't word vomit. We'll be delving into like your fashion, like what's your personal fashion history. Again, the relationship that fashion has with different areas of life, the power of clothes, and all of that good stuff. I don't want to give anything
Yeah,
away,
no, that was perfect.
Yeah, I just want to like give a little sneak peek. And essentially, like, what I want you all to kind of think about is, what are you going to pass down to your kids? Okay. I saw this like, even if you don't want children, like, how can your clothes continue to live on when you no longer are on this earth, right?
How bleak.
Sorry, that sounds really bleak and really morbid, but these are things that you like.
They're assets.
Right? Because I think when people talk about legacy, they automatically go to like, I have a business or I have children. But actually, your clothes are also your legacy, right? Because it is able to tell your story once you're no longer here. And I was watching a TikTok the other day. It made me laugh. I can't even remember what the video was about, but someone commented
exactly which one.
Someone commented saying, "What am I going to pass down to my kids? Clothes from Shein?" And I was like, it just made me laugh because, granted, I personally don't support Shein. I don't buy from Shein, but I'm never going to judge anyone that buys from there. Like, that's your thing. That's fine. But the quality is so bad.
It won't last.
Like, is it even going to last? Is it even going to last one wash, let alone 100 years?
No, that killed me because I was like, yeah, facts. And as someone that has like really indulged in some fast fashion, I need to get things tomorrow.
Yeah.
They're not going to be passed down. They didn't even last that holiday.
Do you
like,
know
what do I mean? That in 50 years' time, someone's going to be able to wear that? Absolutely not. So if you're triggered by that, so was I. And I promise you, it's okay to be triggered because I absolutely was.
What I want to end on is I want you all to think about, kind of going back to what I said, do you have pieces in your wardrobe that you could pass down to your kids, future grandkids, or just pass on in general? And what percentage of your wardrobe do you actually wear?
Gagged. Yeah. I'm going to leave it to you guys. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. Make sure that you comment, like, and share with a friend so we can reach some new audiences. And if you love today's discussion, don't worry, we've got some links for further reading. You can check that out in our bio and our description below. And always remember that the best fashion statement you can make is staying true to yourself. So until next time. Bye. Bye.